Hi everyone. I'm Nompi, and that's Les. Les, where are you? There's Les. And welcome to Being Real with Les and Nompi. Today we're talking about something really interesting, something really exciting that I hope everyone is gonna enjoy. And with us on the panel today, we have Mamelang. I believe Mamelang is in China. Am I right? But I don't hear her. Are you there? Nope, still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Ah, there you are. Hi, Mamilang. Okay. And then we have Leslie, he's from Zambia. And we have Michelle Denma from the States. So I'm going to hand over to Les, and Les is going to do her thing and put us on the spot and make us be honest about certain things that we're not ready to be honest about. So let's do your thing.
Hi, everyone.
What's up?
Good, man. Like Nampi has said, we have a lovely panel this evening. If you can see, guys, we have only one guy. It's going to be an interesting one with two ladies, plus two ladies, the hosts. So, yeah, like she said, did she mention what we're talking about? No, she didn't.
No, I didn't.
So the topic today is, so you're single, meaning that everyone on this panel tonight is single. We can argue it and ask, what do you mean by single? Are they single according to home affairs? I don't know what in your countries you call it. In South Africa, it's home affairs where they declare if you're married or not, the department, or is it a ministry, whatever it is. So the ministry or the department declares that you're married. So if you're still in a relationship, you are considered single. Still in a relationship. If you don't have a boyfriend or girlfriend, you are still single, according to Department of Home Affairs or the ministry. I know in Zambia they call it ministry. I think even in Zimbabwe. But the people on the panel this evening are super single. There's no in a relationship super extra single. Okay, no. Someone said earlier on when we're trying to get to know each other, technically they're single. So I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Why are you exposing yourself, Leslie?
No, nothing. I'm good.
Okay. Oh yeah. So yeah, everyone on the panel is single, like super single. As far as I'm concerned, there's no boyfriend, there's no girlfriend. I'm not sure about the host.
Except for the technical one.
Oh, the technical one.
Yeah. That is deep.
And you know, there's this thing called situationship. Normally, it's the one that we say has technicalities in it. Perhaps the person is in a situationship, but anyway, I don't think that's important for us to know. Let's get into the conversation. So, like I've said, the conversation is we're talking about singleness. So these guys are single. I think the point of departure would be, before we get into the nitty-gritties, the deeper issues, being personal and stuff, according to the panelists or the guest, I think that's the right word. Let's start with Leslie. He's a thorn amongst the roses. Okay, you are a rose among the thorns. Let's correct that. What do you think singleness entails, according to you? What do you think singleness entails, or what does it really mean? Okay, now what does it mean to be single? Yeah, I think that's the correct way to put it.
As in, I'm going to give it my own context. Like,
yes.
What does it mean to me?
Yes.
Okay. I would say what it means to me is I have certain liberties that I would never enjoy if I was betrothed or in a situation where I'm married or with somebody. So yeah, there's that liberty that I tend to enjoy because of my my station as a single person.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing from you, the liberty that comes with singleness.
Yeah. Like I have the
Okay.
luxury to pursue certain things and not be deemed selfish because I am alone. You know what I mean? Like I have that, freedom to go and do my masters if I have to, go and do this, go on an adventure. You know what I mean? Without having to stress somebody else's daughter about my whereabouts and whether I'm coping well, I'm all right, that kind of stuff. So that freedom to me is, kind of.
You said somebody else's daughter. Someone's child.
Michelle, please add on give your perspective on the issue.
What does it mean to be single? My internet was doing a funky thing. Okay, to me, single is overrated in society. It's like if you're single, you're cursed, right? But really, when you think about it, being single is everyone's natural state. Like that's how we came into the world. It's starting point, right? It's supposed to be, right? And I think when you think about it that way, and then you see someone single, it's just like, oh, okay, they're single. That's how we came in this world. That's how we are. And because everyone has the expectation, like, okay, you're only single for a time, and then you get married, or and then you couple yourself. Then they look at it like, oh, why are you still at that starting point? But is it a starting point, or is it the natural state of people, right? So why am I single, or what does singleness mean to me? What does singleness mean to me? I mean, what does singleness mean to me? It's a state of being. You're just single. It's not bad. It's not. It's actually good. There are pluses and minuses to being single or to being married, right? So to me, they're both the same. So just with different problems and different blessings.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like that. I like what you're saying about how it's a state of being, I'm going to hold this thought. I just want to ask a question, but I just want to hear what Mamelang her thoughts on this issue are.
Okay. For me, being single is it's not a curse, number one. It also is, it's just, I'm in a state where I can make any decision without having to consult with anyone, without having to think of like a lot of things. Yes, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a niece, I'm a cousin, I'm a friend. All this is family, and all this is people whom I relate with every day, whom I should and I do consider in my life decisions. However, being single just means that I can, yes, they are close to me, but I can do much intimate or breakthrough decisions without having to really, they don't hinge on them because I haven't blended my life yet to anyone.
Okay. Yeah. I like those thoughts, guys. Leslie brought up an aspect of liberty. I think that's what Mamelang has brought. Like you are able to do decisions on your own. You don't have to consult and stuff. And then Michelle brought an aspect of being. Like you are born like that. You're born single. You're not born with anyone. But then I think I have a concern, and I think all of us, we have that concern in our little spaces. Why? And then I liked what Mamelang and Michelle also said. They highlighted an aspect of a curse. Why is then a society looks at singleness and they see it as an abnormal thing. Like, you're still single, like, why is the society seeing it in that way? Michelle, what are your thoughts?
Why does society see being single as a curse?
Yeah.
So I think this is a loaded question, and I think there's a lot to do with it, in the sense of how we see male and female relationships, and male and female roles in society. So why, I'll start with this. So most societies in the past, and even in the Bible times, were set up to where women have to depend upon men in order to actually make it in society. So for example, in the Bible, if say someone was widowed, right? Like their husband passed away, they couldn't own property, they couldn't buy land. There are a lot of things they were limited to do in society because they didn't have a husband. So and that's just the Bible. Now take our society, so American society, in the 20s and whatnot, men were the breadwinners. You go, you work, women don't work, they stay home, they take care of the family. Everything that you own is under your husband's name, et cetera, et cetera. So in a sense, you need a man. So it's like imperative to get married so that you have these benefits in society. So now as society is changing and mentalities are changing, the transfer is like slowly happening to where women don't necessarily need a man for like quote unquote financial stability or these things, but the stigma of being single is still there, right? So I think it has a lot to do with that, why people think it's a curse, but I think it's just something that needs to be reversed. But I think the other thing is no one wants to be alone forever, right? Or I can't say no one, some people might, but human beings are created for community and social interaction. And a lot of people think that being married is the only way that you can get those things, right? So I think in the midst of all of those pieces, that's part of the reason why society thinks it's a curse to be single.
Okay. That's a very interesting thought. So the reason, what you're highlighting is the reason why the trend of singleness has been seen as a curse is because that it was more of an economical arrangement more than anything else. Okay. Leslie, yeah, what are your thoughts? What are you thinking?
On it being a curse.
Yeah.
It's not a curse. It's a beautiful space to be in, but we can't, as beautiful as the space may be, it'll be unwise for us to ignore what the core society has on us, because it's, people have gone as far as stretching scripture and quoting it's not good for man to be alone. It's like, we get that. So yeah, and I love the arguments she brought up. Yeah, she brought out where he's saying, okay, marriage is not the only way you can accomplish the idea of community and whatever fellowship you may wish to satisfy. But I feel society has been harsher on the females than it is on a man because of what she's said. And I've never met anybody who's come approach me and say, oh, when are you a guest because you're single? No. But I've seen my female friends go through a lot of, for lack of a better term, I would say traumatic experiences, because a lot of people, family, familial pressure, pressure from friends as well. It's like a lot is expected when it comes to females, and them being single is like, are you for real? Are you feeling all right? It's like there's something that's broken inside you. It's like the other time my family approached me. It was like, should we be concerned? Should we be worried? It's like, are you okay? It's like, yeah, I'm okay. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's not a curse. And I feel it's high time society came to terms with the fact that a female, mostly because they're meaner to you people than they are to me, because generally we are the ones that pursue, unless you have changed the roles. But I know myself to be the guy that pursues. You know what I mean?
You'll never know.
And
You'll never know.
yeah, I haven't had few women pursue me, but that's like out of the norm. You get what I mean? But for you people, I feel you're still conservative that way. You wait for a man to come to you. So it kind of, society sees that as you having a flaw in character, because how come you're not having this magnet, that male magnet that, lures men into, saying, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff.
That's
So,
magnet.
Lures men into
Tell us.
We want to know the magnet.
yeah, that's okay. I'll just put it loosely as that. So, generally speaking, we call women to be beautiful, you know what I mean? And men are called handsome. I don't know who came up with those rules. But generally, women are the fair sexes, yeah? You all can relate, you know what I mean, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you people are known for your beauty. You get what I mean? It's like, so because beautiful things are attractive, okay? That's the magnet I'm talking about. Beautiful things are supposed to attract. You know how the petals attract the bees, and the bee come and collect the pollen, and they do their magic, and you come up with the honey, which is marriage and all that beautiful stuff. So it's like, how come you've been around for a long time, you've been around this block forever, up to now there's no honey, you know what I mean? It's like,
Oh my word.
Wow.
I have no words.
Yeah, no, it's rough. It's rough. Hey,
oh yeah,
we
that's
have the honey.
That's funny.
Are you gonna leave it at that, D? Are you gonna leave it at that?
Yeah, others can weigh
okay.
in. Yeah, I'm still
Okay,
collecting
you're
myself.
alone. No, you're alone. Remember, you're the only guy here, so you're speaking for the masses.
Yeah, the burden is real. I'm supposed to, speak for my gender. So yeah, I'll try.
Okay, Mamela, you've heard that there's a need for honey, but anyways.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about society deeming being single as a curse?
Okay. Before I say my thoughts, I just want to say that it's not a disclaimer, but I just want to say that marriage is a beautiful institution, actually, and it's a blessing. But we have a defect in our society and an imbalance in raising up the girl child and the boy child. So we raise the girl child, the girl child is raised in a way that they are hungry for marriage.
Right.
Right. Whatever you do, you need to get married. Even if you are educated, even if you are able to fend for yourself, the identity of a girl child is based on marriage, and it's not the same with the boy child. Their identity is not centered in marriage. So we grow up having an imbalance. The girl child is very hungry for marriage, and the boy child is not really. He's just okay, with marriage, even less maybe educated about marriage. And remember also that the boy child is the one who pursues. So this is somebody who's supposed to be more hungry for marriage, somebody who's supposed to be thinking about it all the time, but he is not. Yet the person who is being pursued is ready for everything, ready is physically, ready like emotionally, socially. So that's an imbalance that we have. And when we look at it, this whole thing, our identity has to maybe be in Christ, because if that's the case, then the girl child will know their worth in Christ, not on another, not on the man who's going to marry you. Because
Yeah.
the problem that we are facing even right now is that there's so many there's so many girls who are struggling with self-worth, because you have to do this so that even when you look at the fashion industry, whatever you look at, we want to be attractive to men, yet we are already attractive, and we could have our identity in the Lord. And even if those men, the boy child, would have their identity in the Lord, they would have a clear perspective on how to maybe conduct family and how to treat a woman. And even the woman would have a clear perspective in the Lord, and they would then meet at an, let's say, equal level, or at a level where they are both healthy, to a balanced level to be able to conduct a relationship. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And also, on top of that not being the case, we find that we have a lot of females. Population-wise, there's less males and less females. So it's a problem on top of another problem. And I really don't know how we're going to solve that, but yeah.
That's a great answer.
Wow, yeah. I like that. Before I say anything, Nompi.
Yeah, I'm here.
Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like this is so biased though, because we're all like, oh, being single is amazing. It's the best. I don't know. I'm single, and guys, it's not the best space to be in. I don't know about you guys, but I think being single does have its challenges, and it's not all rosy,
I like that. I like what Nompi is saying. I was going to come to that question, but before I get to that question, what Mamelang said, like I agree with it, like 100%. We've been raised as girl child. When you're cleaning in the house at the age of 5 years, they're like, you need to know how to clean so that when you get married, wow, you've cooked nice food. When you get married, already, so you are being nurtured to get into that space and whatnot. And most of us, we find ourselves, I'm just a friend with DeLeslie. DeLeslie is being kind to me because that thing has been planted. His kindness now, I see it as if like, DeLeslie likes me, But no, we've not been taught to have friends with the opposite sex without thinking of marriage.
About marriage.
About marriage. I meet a guy now. I already see a potential. We're getting married next week. So
but there's nothing wrong though.
No, there's everything wrong.
No, it's wrong, man. No, it's Leslie. That's just wrong.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not talking about. I'm saying there's nothing wrong with having the idea of marriage at the back of your mind. There's nothing wrong with that, because it's come on, it's a very beautiful institution. Hello, okay, but coming back to Nompi said something really beautiful. It's like, yeah, why are you all painting singleness?
Yes.
As something that's all rosy? He's like, okay, I'll give you my perspective, right? Singleness is like, for me, it's twofold, right? Like you're defaultly single, like it's rough. And then there's certain people that are deliberately single. Like, I'm single because I have a reason, okay? Not that I'm fresh out of options, no. I get options, but I'm not going to exploit those options because I have certain priorities that I want to meet before I can, declare for whichever heart that tickles my fancy and stuff like that. So, yeah, if you're single intentionally, you're deliberate about it, it's a cool place to be in. But if you're on the outside, it's rough, like, you know what I mean? Like, you want in, Jordan put it in a very beautiful, I'm going to stretch the argument. So it's like, there's nothing more desperate than a woman who desires to have a child and can't bear a child. Now, the point I'm trying to put across is, it's so frustrating when you want something so bad that you can't get it. You know what I mean? So expectation is what kills a lot of us. Like, I want it so bad. Like in the process, I go around losing myself just to get it. You get what I mean? So you can preserve your individuality in as much as you want it so much, but always know that don't go losing yourself in pursuing something that might be for some other time. Just saying.
I hear you, Leslie. I agree that at the back of our mind we should have marriage, but I think what we are saying is it should not be the thing that is like your priority. If it's gonna happen, let it happen.
Organically.
So yes, with the girl child is
think-
dead.
Yeah, I think like as human beings, we were created to want companionship. So whether or not you are raised to want marriage, you are going to want some sort of companionship.
Correct.
And the default in the situation would be marriage, So I like what Mamelang was saying, because as young women, we are raised to become wives. Especially in the African setting. I don't know about everywhere else, but in the African setting, you are raised to be a wife. And yet, with or without that, your default is, I want companionship. Because God created us like that. He created us to want to have somebody by our side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I like that. Do you want to say something, Michelle? I wanted to let me ask a question, and if you're going to add, just add on the question. And I want us then to get real. You guys have been giving nice, great perspective to this whole thing. And Leslie mentioned something about how, I think he was answering on his behalf that perhaps he's single because of priorities, whatever. But I want us to get real that in our lives, whatever phase in our life that we've been, have we never felt the pressure of the society upon us regarding our singleness? I'm not talking about you might not be pressured now because perhaps you are older and you know better and stuff. But at some point, and tell me, when you felt that pressure, rather when you experienced that pressure, how did you feel? The true feelings. Let's be real, ladies and gentlemen. Michelle, you are first.
Yes, I've experienced pressure. I think I've experienced the most pressure from family, right? And so much so that the people being thrown at me were not even compatible in a life sense. Literally anybody that walks is an option. And it's just like, seriously, like really? That's how bad you want this for you? Like you want this worse for me than I want it for myself. You know what I mean? And I'm upset. I'm offended, to be honest, because you have lost sense in even picking a good candidate. You're so hungry for me to be with someone that you would suggest randomness, right? And I would, to be very honest, it's annoying. It's annoying. It's offensive, angry, to the point where I just had to say, you know what? I desire to be married forever, right? To whoever it is. And it's okay to take your time for someone you want to spend forever with. So the race is not who gets married first. The race is who stays married the longest, right? And not just staying married, it's staying in a happy marriage, not just being with someone because, there's shame if we get divorced. No, you want to enjoy the person you're spending the rest of your life with. So if I take my time on the front end, let me do so, right? And pick wisely. And granted, people have other arguments. Oh, everyone will be gone, etc. Yes, but at the end of the day, that extra time that you've spent, you should be able to know for yourself who you are as an individual and what you would appreciate the most in a spouse or a partner. So I think you just hopefully mature in that sense.
Okay. Nice. I like that. Mamelang, what are your thoughts?
Pressure, yes, I have experienced pressure actually from my closest friend, so much that we don't talk about a relationship from my side. Like, we don't talk about relationships on my side. Simply because, when you're close with someone, they, especially like friends, they will be knowing what happened in your life. So when you say, oh, I think I want to like wait before I can embark on any relationship, she will be feeling that maybe you are taking that decision because past relationships, you are blocking people, even people who maybe could be compatible. You're just blocking them, and men are running out, so you're going to be single for the rest of your life. Things like that. Like this is the time that you're supposed to be interacting and entertaining guys, because time is running out. And other than that, I don't think I receive much pressure, because I interact with people who may be at school level, at professional level, so we don't really talk about personal stuff. And yeah, we don't talk about personal. I'm also not open to talk about my relationship part of, like, I regard it as personal. Even like with family, we don't talk about that, because I realized also that sometimes giving people freedom, much freedom in your life like that, it gets annoying. Yeah.
Okay. But today you're on Being Real. We are getting into that space, girl. We are getting.
I see. I don't even know how I got here, but yeah, that's okay.
D, please tell us.
Okay. So I'll circle back to what you were saying, Michelle. My addition to what you were saying would be that was a specific thing, right? You just don't bring to me. I don't know if you guys, our system in Zambia, education, primary school, we constantly used to talk about matter. Matter is anything that has weight, occupies space, and I don't know if you guys had that kind of definition. What's matter? Space and matter. You know what I mean? So I agree. Like, just don't bring anything that has weight and occupies space. For and hope that I will align myself.
All right.
With that you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I get standards. I'm not stranded. Just kidding, you know what I mean? Like, people should respect that you taking it easy doesn't mean you've run out of options, and they can bring anything.
Right.
Like, even
Right.
this, you know what I mean? Like, just get with someone or something.
Right.
And furthermore, I would say love is very specific. You know what I mean? Like, it's specific. It goes after what it wants.
Yeah.
Granted, yes, sometimes you get it wrong. Like, you remember some songs like, get me ha. You know what I mean? Like, I want ha. You know what I mean? Yeah, that kind of stuff. And if you look at the whole construct of salvation, even in John 3:16, for God so loved the world, it was very specific. Like, I will specifically love an individual. Yes, I know, and many of us may agree or not, but this is what it is. Life is built around pressure. That is what life is about, okay? Too much of it is dangerous. Too much, too little of it as well is dangerous. So pressure is not always a bad thing. Sometimes, people talk about, no, peer pressure. It's not always negative. Sometimes peers will pressure you to do the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you need to have the wisdom. Now, I remember talking to a friend who was grappling with the issue of, I'm single, I love it. It's like, okay, are you for real? You really love this thing? You could tell from the tacit expressions that, okay, this person was feeling the pressure, but still wanted to put up a spirited fight. Like, everything is okay. No, everything is not okay. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we need to have the wisdom to know, okay, when to let go of the beauty which is singleness. You know what I mean?
Sure.
There should come a time where, okay, yes, I've enjoyed being single, because I joke with my friends saying, you know what, marriage is gonna ruin us.
It's the beginning of the end.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like the other time I was attending James' wedding, I was like, oh, we've lost a gallant soldier. So, but the point is, you know, we need to get to a place where we see wisdom in making the ranks of bachelorhood or bachelor, whatever, ness bereft. You get what I mean? Not because of, you know, us being headstrong or bent on proving a point. I can do this single thing, but sometimes you just have to yield. There's nothing wrong. And then my last contribution would be, I would rather stay single than marry for any other reason other than love. Because if I marry because of societal norm and because of convenience, then there's a problem, okay? Because what might appear to be convenient today might be the very reason that will, you know, mar the very idea of what the beauty of marriage is all about. So I would rather wait and marry for love than marry because, no, you're getting older now, or marry for societal norms and convenience. I still feel love is the noblest reason why we need to marry.
Can I add to that?
All right. So.
I think a lot of times, like, or at least this is the way I think, being real, right? Is I currently like my life. I like my single life. That doesn't mean that I don't want to get married, but I will say that I would like the marriage to enhance my life and not detract from it. So otherwise I'm not interested, right? Love is a work, right? You work at it, and throwing that in there. But in the same sense, I would like the next person added to my life to be an enhancement, like I said. And I think a lot of times people get married and then now they regret being married and they'd rather be single again. Like, I don't think you should have regrets. Like, I think you should have said, I loved my single life, and now that I'm married, things just got, so much better. So I don't know. Okay. That's what I'm looking forward to. But I'm also single with a single perspective. So it may have been good to have a married person on here, but
I hear you.
I think so.
So you guys, you've said a mouthful, and I hear you. I just want to know. Okay, before I get there, let me just share a bit about the societal pressure. Personally, for me, I don't think I've ever been pressured to be getting a relationship, or rather to be married, to be precise. My family is very chilled, but the talks that you will hear is at church. Church? Yes. Church, like, yeah, when are you getting married? Like, do I need to pursue myself? Help me. Let's balance this equation. But anyway, but I think for me, what has, as you move from the 30s, guys, it gets real. As you reach the 30s, it gets real. Because now, as much as you want to silence what everyone is saying outside, when you sit down and think, for me personally, I've been in that space where I'm like, but is there something wrong with me? Is there something wrong with me? Because of the voices outside. You don't want to listen to them, but in your silent moment, these things come and you ask yourself, and I think I got to a point at some point, putting pressure on myself unnecessarily. You can be brave enough outside and you're like, no, I'll get married when the time is right. But inside, it's a different story altogether,
You're dead.
You are dead, You're just waiting for that moment. When is this person coming, So what I'm trying to say is, at times we can put pressure on ourselves. The society might not really be putting pressure on us, but because of how we've been nurtured growing up, that thing then put pressure on ourselves. So I think at some point I've put pressure on myself to say, no, the biological, no, I'm not really that into the biological clock anyway. It's not my thing. But, other people might say the biological clock, it's ticking and stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight highlight that. Nombi, do you have anything you want to say?
No, I'm good.
Oh, okay. Earlier on, Michelle said something very critical that I want us to expand on. Even you, Leslie, you even added on it. She mentioned how marriage is not the only source of companionship. Yeah, like, so it means that whatever the needs that marriage, is it the void? Let's say the void. Whatever the void of marriage, it can be filled by other companionship. I think now yeah. Okay, I'm thinking as I'm talking, you know.
Yeah.
So whatever that void, but I want to understand, how can they fill this void? Because my understanding is that these relations, they're different,
Yeah.
like the levels. I was talking to a friend the other day, and this friend of mine says to me, I think she's married, by the way, but anyway, she's like, I think a person can be single forever. I think I wouldn't have mind being single and not, but she's married. She's enjoying the benefits of marriage, but she's saying this to me. So I'm like, girl, you're playing games. You want to get married. So I think you can be, you know, because I mean, when you're married, when you're single, you wake up at whatever time. You don't have to cook. You don't, you know. I'm like, I get that, but I think what you're missing is, for me, it's having that bond with a person, or having that companionship, which is so deeper than a friendship level. I mean, me and Leslie, we're friends, but the bond is not as deep as if I was in I'm in a relationship or married to this person. And I made an example about how God and Jesus, I mean, God knows Jesus' heart. Jesus knows God's heart. And I was saying to her, I want to get to that level of that bond of knowing this person's heart. I can't know Leslie's heart like that, you know? And I feel like the marriage bond, it's that, when you know, I don't know how to explain it, but it's deep. It's deep. So, Michelle, but I hope you guys understand what I'm trying to say. You mentioned that.
Sure.
So you mentioned that people that can feel that void, you know. But I'm here, I'm like, hey,
sure.
I want that marriage bond. But how will they fill that void? That only a man, my husband can feel.
Yeah, so I think maybe what I should have said, because marriage is different it's a different relationship than the other relationships that you have, is the other relationships can kind of almost like offset that what would be missing from the marriage aspect. With marriage, you have this there's this other level of intimacy, right, that one experiences. But I think one of the issues is when people get married, they sometimes feel like they have to cut off the deep intimacies that they've developed in their lives with their friends and even sometimes their families. So it then leaves a single person without community, right? And so it's like, once all of your friends get married, like all of their time is invested, right, in their family, or most of it. So there you are hanging in the breeze. Whereas if none of you are married, you'd still all be, you know, investing in one another. So I think there has to be kind of this even balance and this better understanding of what community is, to help people live lives that are fulfilled, right? Even if I don't have, how can I live a fulfilled life even if I'm not married? Do I have to be married to be completely fulfilled, even though this singleness is the state of being I came into the world as, right? So that's kind of what I was trying to say. I think we need to work on our understanding of what community is, and not bank so much, especially in our society, on just marriage. People are gonna live so many different ways. How can we be fulfilled even in a single state? So, and I think community is the answer for that.
Okay. I hear you.
Can I say something?
All right, Mamela.
Yeah. I also adding on to what she's saying is that I think we overburden relationships before it's even at marriage level. We just overburden a relationship. If I'm to get a boyfriend, then he will now play the role of a best friend, of the good friend that I always chat with, not occasionally. And if I grew up with a parents deficit, say mother-father deficit, he will now also be the mother and he'll be the father. And he will start also to be the spiritual, spiritual guides, and he starts to be, we drain relationships in that way. So we must make sure that we have a good social balance. We have a good relationship, let's say with our parents, we have a good relationship with our friends, we have a good relationship with even our acquaintances and all. That way the relationship is not strained. And even if we were to get married, we are able to maintain an intimate marriage circle, but also still maintain our friendships, because marriage is not divorce from family. It's not divorce from friends. Even when I am married, I still remain a daughter. I still remain a cousin. I still remain that. But because of, I don't know if it's society or if it's the experiences that we have as people, we tend to overburden marriage a lot, and that is why also our marriages maybe fail or our relationship fail, because we would be wanting our partners to fill voids that can be filled only by our friends, and also to fill voids that can be only maybe be filled by Christ and Christ alone. In as much as we're supposed to be close to our partners, there is like a God-shaped void in our hearts, that many times we go about from relationship looking to fill that void, yet it's a void that can only be filled by Christ and Christ alone. Whether you're married, whether you're not married, whether you are happily in other social relationships or not.
Oh, thank you for that, guys. So community is very critical, regardless of the fact that you're single or you're not single. Point taken. Leslie, do you remember the question?
I'm trying to remember.
Guys, you're fired, Leslie.
No, I got so put into the contributions. I was like, okay, I love that. Yeah. What was the question again?
Michelle said that. What did you say, Michelle? I feel like I'm in the same subgroup.
I basically said that there are other ways to fill the void of companionship than marriage.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Which I agree. I agree. Now here's the extent to which I agree. Now, one thing I've noticed that makes marriages like the aspired place to be, is there's something that, you can date this person like 10 years dating this, but there's no amount of dating that can ever equip you for marriage. I don't know if we can all agree to that, but if you don't, it's like sad. But truth is, there's a certain character that being in a relationship, which is a marriage or the nuptials, that a certain expression or a person that you are, that can only be revealed when you're in that kind of setting. Because now that's why I would go as far as saying there's something more ennobling and more sanctifying about the marriage union than us being friends. You get what I mean? Because it calls for sheer exclusivity. And within that realm, I am exposed to how selfish I am. And me hanging out with you as my friends, I could never have realized how selfish I was. But because of the blessing which is marriage, I and I'll come face to face with my truest self, and I realize how much I need to be better. I don't know if we can relate. And going back to what Mamelang was saying, I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right, but I'm trying. Yeah. So going back to what you're saying, much of the people that are married today, I would say, this is me coining a phrase, they have been sentenced to marriage because they are basically enduring it. You get what I mean? Like, it's overburdened because I didn't marry you to be a shrink, for crying out. I didn't even go to school to study psychology. Why are you doing this to me? You know what I mean? Like, marriage is not, it shouldn't be all that we've made it to be, okay?
Yeah.
But yes, I get that there are a lot of beautiful dynamics, but at the end of the day, I think in a way, we dash into marriage with a lot of selfishness and we expect our partners to help redeem us, to be the boss in our lives. It's like, I can't be boss. I can't. I for one has embraced my limitations. Like, I can't be all things to all men. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't be all things to all men.
No, I can. I definitely can. Which goes to what you were saying. You know what I mean? Like, yes, I'm married, but I still need to have a sense of community. I don't throw my single people away because at the end of the day, I will need that. How would I say it? I would need that type of experience to just give me a bit of perspective. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because if I'm so engrossed in this whole marriage thing, I will get overwhelmed, and then the beauty that is marriage will now become obscure, and I won't really appreciate it for what it is because I have excluded everybody else, even the people that were supposed to pour into my life that positive and give me a reason to still pursue this institution. Because of me losing myself in this guy or girl that I'm married to, I compromise the integrity of the union. So yeah, we need single people around us.
Yes.
We need married people around us.
True. I do agree. I do agree in that, like I was saying before, marriage is another level of intimacy. But in the meantime, if you are single, there are ways to help alleviate that, desire for companionship.
Okay. I think you guys, your contributions actually they speak to each other, which is good. It means that more or less we are seeing this whole singleness thing in the same way, which is not bad. We can differ, it's okay, but it's a good thing. Now I just want us to ask you this question, guys. In your singleness, have you felt lonely? Like now is rough, and in that moment, it's not all rosy. It's not all rosy. And when you felt in that moment, what did you do? What did you do to just calm yourself down? I mean, someone out there is feeling lonely at this moment. Oh, one of us here is super lonely, but they're not saying. How do we help each other in that regard, guys? Mamelang. Have you felt lonely? And when you did, and what was going through your mind when you were lonely? What are the things you were asking yourself?
Oh, okay. Yes, I do feel lonely sometimes. And when I do feel lonely, it's mainly because I think for me, a relationship is companionship. Like the sole reason I'll get married or the sole reason I'll be with anyone is for companionship, actually. Yeah, just to be able to chat. And those are the reasons why maybe okay, not maybe, those are the reasons why I feel lonely. Sometimes wanting to share something with someone, and I think, okay, maybe I can tell this person. I'm like, no, okay, or maybe I say, when we plan a call, especially sometimes when we have planned a conversation with friends or with someone and it fails. What do I do when I feel lonely?
That's like, girl, I feel it.
Yeah, it has been really a hard time in China because I couldn't even go out. But under normal circumstances, maybe I'd go for a hike because I do like hiking. I'd go for a hike. Lately, I have been journaling. Like, there has never been a year that I journaled than this year. So I have wrote so much. I have also did things that I used to do and that I really like. I've painted. I like just writing and doodling and drawing stuff on paper. So that's what I've been doing lately when I feel lonely. Yeah. And yeah, I also appreciate talking with friends, but sometimes, especially now in this time of COVID, I'm so tired of virtual speaking, I want physical contact, and being in a foreign country, it's something else. So yeah, it's hard, but writing does it for me, actually. Just writing my feelings down, and even I write letters to God, so many letters. So yeah.
Wow. I feel you, girl. I feel you. Leslie.
Huh? Yeah.
I don't like that laugh.
No, because my mind is wired in a very weird way. Because now I'm trying to escape giving a true account of what you asking.
No, you know. Don't bring.
So what I want to do is ask. So what? In what context? I want to stole, but I won't stole. Okay, but let me put it out there. But I still really want to know the context. But yeah, it's okay. I would say being alone and being lonely are two different things. Okay, I am alone, but I'm not lonely. Okay, I find myself indulging my social, side of, because we're social beings. Okay, so I find myself chilling with my guys, my friends, and stuff like that. And usually I don't really feel the loneliness that excites the desire to marry. Like, truth is, I'm so scared of marriage. Like, it's real. Like, it's one of those, did I just say it loud? Sorry. Yeah.
You did.
You know what I mean? Like, I am marriage averse, you know what I mean? Like, it's so real. Like, forever is a long time with someone. So, yeah. And then, generally speaking, I think men don't do so well with commitments. Staying committed-ish. That's why we find ourselves cheating and all that funny stuff. But it's a good discipline to, just stick to one person till you die. But
it's a discipline. It's actually a commandment.
It is. And okay, I'll give you a historical background, okay, of how I used to cope with loneliness. It's a safe space here, isn't it? Because you wanted us to be real, right? Yeah, like occasionally I'll find myself flirting with people, like, so how are you? Just to make me feel like, I still got it. You know what I mean? Like, I get it.
You've got game.
You see, so yeah. But I realized that was doing more harm than good, because I was joking. I was trying to alleviate my loneliness, but I was using the wrong pitch to play. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be playing on your heart and your feelings just so I can make myself feel better. You know what I mean? So just saying I've changed now. I try not to do that. Yeah. So that is how I used to do it. But now it's different. I don't feel the edge that leads me to feeling so lonely that I feel I need to get hitched. No.
I hear
So
you.
it's me.
I hear you. Michelle.
So I think I agree with D. Leslie when he says being alone and being lonely are two different things. I'm definitely I won't lie and be like I'm not lonely, right? I think there are times when I realize that I'm lonely, and so usually I'm busy doing something, or I'm preparing this or doing that. It's when all of that slows down and you're home, everything's done, and you're like, okay, what do I do now, right? And there's no appointments on the calendar, etc. And you realize, oh, it's just me, right? And so I think it's in those times, or in those moments, or holidays, or times when family is being promoted, that you realize, okay, yeah, I am lonely. And to mitigate that, I kind of like sister, I don't want to mispronounce your name, Memelan. Our friend in China, Memelan, right?
Yes.
I use that as creative energy, right? So when your emotions or when your feelings are the strongest, that's usually when you make the best art, right?
Yeah.
So whether that's, writing or singing or just getting on my guitar and actually, expressing what I'm feeling right now, or expressing the desires. I've written some really awesome things just for what I aspire, or what I want, or what I desire, right? So that helps a lot. It also helps, talking to my girlfriends, and we have kind of like we're all in different places, so we get together sometimes and we pray, and it's like let's catch up on life, and then let's also pray, and that's where you let your hair down, and you talk like, guys, I'm lonely, I'm whatever. And that helps a lot when you have other people who understand what you're going through and can sympathize with you as well. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I think everyone can say that they just want someone who they can do life with, right? It doesn't have to be something spectacular, right? It's just like, hey, let's go out for a walk. Hey, we're going to go out and try this new restaurant. We're going to, go out and do this or that. But you have someone who you're linked with at heart and at mind, who's doing it with you. So yeah, it gets lonely, but I try to use that emotion and whatever it is as something to help me grow in creative pursuits or make you money. So
I hear you
too.
I hear you guys. Interesting perspectives there. Nambi, I don't know if you want to say anything. You want to share?
No, I do not want to share.
I know, guys, I know Nompi. I know I've put her on a spot, like literally put her on a spot.
You have,
it's
man.
rough. It's rough for her. But anyway,
I think for me, like coping mechanisms, I'm gonna say a lot of what. Okay, definitely not what Leslie said, because no. but I think a lot of what Mami Ling said and what Michelle said, like the whole creative thing, I get that, because I channel myself in that way. keeping busy is another thing for me. If I'm just busy and I'm filling my timetable with stuff so I don't have to think about it, that helps a lot as well. And also, I think I have a really great support system. I have awesome friends that, like, they're just there, and also a family support system that's not putting too much pressure. They make it clear that, okay, we would like this, but it's not like, yo, what's up, So I think for me, those are my coping mechanisms for those lonely days.
Yeah. I think for me, when I get into that space, what is really critical is acknowledging that I'm feeling lonely, that I'm in this space. Because sometimes you can distract yourself as much as you want or as possible because you don't want to acknowledge that you're feeling lonely, So I try by all means to say, I'm lonely, and ask myself, where am I feeling lonely? It's like what Mamilang was saying, I wish I could share with someone how my week was, and that someone is not there. Is it a train smash? No, it's not a train smash. I have Nompi, let me call Nompi, and let's just catch up on how the week was, type of a thing. I know it's not the same with a friend, but it's not the same. But that issue, guys, you raised of community. Someone said something very profound and said, okay, I think it's profound, said that sometimes we have a perception of who we want. We have certain individuals that we want to do things with, but they're not there in our lives. But there are some of the people in our lives that can do those things with us. So when you have those people, appreciate them and do those things with them in the absence of what you desire and wish, because you might miss important lessons looking in the future, but the present is here, and there are people in your life that you can do stuff, and I think if we embrace those moments as well, they prepare us for what is coming ahead of us, type of a thing. So yeah, so guys, I think we've highlighted this, but I need you to say it out loud. Why are you guys single? Michelle, why are you single?
Why am I single? In a nutshell, I don't know. Okay, the long answer can go down a number of different roads, right? It's a loaded question, but ultimately, I think there could be a number of reasons. I'll go down a couple of roads. So I think one of the things with the spike in dating apps is people attribute a lot of times their singleness to their location, right? And there's definitely merit to that, right? Which is why dating apps are a thing, because you can connect with people and figure out, who's around you by accessing an app. So in one sense, I think that plays a small part in it. In another sense, I think intimidation is kind of a big thing, right? So women are doing their thing in society today. And I think sometimes it's a little scary for men, and not every man, maybe D. Leslie, that's not you. You're not intimidated by by women who are quote unquote a boss, right? So I think that plays another thing, an intimidation factor. And then ultimately, I also think that men's expectations of what they think a woman should be or what they want plays a role in that too. And strong women often don't always fit that mold or that type. So I think that's something else. The other thing, let me just say a pet peeve of mine. I think people believe that women are not also attracted to beautiful things. It's like, you just need a man. You don't need like to look at their outward exterior. Like that's not a factor, And I think we would be lying to ourselves if we said that women don't also look at such things. So in a mix of that, and then in a mix of also for me personally, understanding kind of where my life is going and the purpose that I believe God has given me, it kind of also continues to shrink my pool more and more and more. And just as someone in ministry who does, the work of the Lord, it becomes difficult to find people who understand where you're at spiritually, right? Or who share a similar type of experience. And so finding that amongst all of the other things, it becomes like a needle in a haystack. And I don't want to be picky, and at the same time, I don't want to be just loose, like, oh, anybody, you know what I mean? And then there's, natural attraction, and then I don't know, there's a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, amongst all that, I don't know.
You don't know. The confusion of the matter. You don't know. I like that. Leslie, why are you single?
I thought it was going to be ladies first.
Okay, it's fine. Ladies first. Mamelang, you're the last one, Leslie.
Yeah.
I'm so happy actually when you called out Leslie. I'm like, okay, I have time to think about it. Why am I single? Do I even know I'm single?
Girl, I feel you.
I'm beginning to think none of us know why we're single.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a huge part of the reason of my singleness or our singleness lies on God. I mean, if he thought that it's not time for us to be single, he would have brought a person. So that's a part of my answer to that question. And another reason, when I just reflect on my life, is a relationship is work. It is work spiritually, it is work intellectually, it is work financially, it is work even physically. Physically, like where I play proximity, And I don't think I'm there in all these aspects, or yes, I'm still tackling all these aspects, and even I know as Christians that our culture is Christianity, but also even culturally, a relationship is work culturally. So I don't think I'm also at a place where I can say, oh, I'm in China and I would like to meet a person. Like, I know in my heart and in my mind that this is not a place for me to even think about a relationship. I'll think about a relationship later when I'm home, and I'm going to be home maybe after a very long time. You know what I mean? So I think those are the reasons. My values, and all this that I have said leaves me right now to be single, allows me right now to be single. Until then, when maybe especially the physical part, the location changes, maybe then I can start thinking of a relationship. And yeah.
I hear you. Nompi.
Yeah, Bo.
You're on. Ladies first.
Wait, you want me to answer this question? Sure.
Yes, madam.
I think I'm the same. I don't know. I think for me it's mostly when I'm waiting on God. Like I see a trend, like especially in my part of the world. Young ladies, I don't know, guys these days, especially like in Zim, because our economic situation is just a mess. So where people would be more financially free at a younger stage, it takes a bit longer for guys to get to that point, here. So guys are getting serious about marriage much later than they were before. And you see that, but because girls have been raised to be wives, you're ready. By the time you're 18, you're like, okay, let's do this. So there's that element to it. There's the element of, I realize the gravity of the difficulty that marriage is, and I don't want to rush into it just to say I'm married. No, I kind of want to. So for me, it's the element of, I'm waiting for God to give me the one that He's like, you see, this one it could work with. This one, I put my stamp of approval on this one. So, do this one. So for me, it's mainly a waiting element to it, and just waiting on God to come through with the promise. And if it doesn't, and if the promise isn't mine, then that's okay as well.
Okay, I hear you.
Because I think he's a God who says, I will not withhold anything good from you. So I know if it's good for me, He won't withhold it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much why I'm single.
Okay.
Mostly. Yeah. There's other reasons, of course, but
Those are the main. Those are
Yeah,
the ones
those
you
are the
want to
main
put in
reasons.
public. Those are the ones you want to put in public.
Those are the ones I'm comfortable telling people.
It's okay. We understand. Mr. Thorn, do you want me to go? Like, you are a thorn amongst the roses. That's why I'm calling you Mr. Thorn. You can go ahead, Dee.
Okay. So the summary of everything, I would say I'm not ready. That is like the summary. Why am I not ready? I believe we all know the relationships and issues of marriage, as it were, are built around compromise, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the kind of compromise that I'm not talking about the compromise where you have to compromise on principle issues, but on preference. I have a lot of preferences that I'm not ready to let go of. So
That's a real thing. That's a real thing.
Yeah, like I have a lot of preferences. Like I don't see a lot of people that I meet meeting those things. Yeah. I've been advised by people with experience to say, you know what, it's compromise. Like I get that. But at this where I am right now, I can explore. There's nothing wrong with exploring. And until then, I'll keep exploring. And then the other thing is I keep meeting boring people. Like it's sad. It's like it's so boring. You know what I mean? Like it's meant to say, but people are boring. Okay. And many of and because they're so boring, it has cast a very dark shadow, and then I perceive it to be it bores me. And then the other thing is I'm big on philosophy. You know what I mean? Like we need to have a shared philosophy, life philosophy. If I'm going to do life with you, at least have a tinge of shared philosophy with me. I'm a wild soul. I'm wild at heart. Like I'm so adventurous. It's annoying. I am, I mostly find myself living, in the spur of the moments. Like, and then a lot of people that I meet are so, so careful. It's like, I'm not about that careful business. I'm looking for a human who is vulnerable enough to be them. You know what I mean? It's like a lot of people come with, whatever Ellen G. White stuff they've read, with all those theological bushes that they've, been holding for the longest time. Like, and that's one biggest problem I face as an Adventist. You know what I mean? Like, I have more real conversations with people that are not part of the flock. You know what I mean? And then because of that, sadly, you find yourself tilting towards people who are real. Because if I'm going to have a real conversation with you, I'm hoping to talk with flesh and blood. It's like, don't get all spiritual on me. It's like, I get that, you know, we need to be spiritual. It's like, yes, but let's not use spirituality as a trump card to evade what is real and the struggles that we're going through. And because of that, this is what has happened. I have not found any woman, hope they're not hearing me, that is worth my pursuit. Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, I need... I was telling my friends the other time, it's like, you know, it's okay to be picky. It's okay. Don't feel bad that you're picky. Michelle, I heard you say, you know, it's okay to be picky. It's fine. And I
said selective.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You get it's not a problem to be picky. Yeah. And I've even lost my thought. But the other thing that I've noticed about me and my gender is we're more focused on, we're so impersonal. I don't know if you can relate that men, we tend to be impersonal. Okay, we don't like to be vulnerable as much as you would want us to be vulnerable. And I'm still big on not being vulnerable. I'm big on making certain strides financially, making certain strides in my profession. So I'm still big on that. So different from women, generally, women feel their greatest satisfaction maybe is in being loved and loving. But with some of us, we still, you know, attached to, I want to make it. You know what I mean? I want to have this. I want to have all that. So I'm still in that place. And because of this, I'm still flirting with the idea of I'm still flirting with the ideals more than the real, which is the boring people that I meet. So yeah. So as long as I still feel I have time, so I can explore. My shelf life is high. I don't stress about biological clocks, so
I just think we all sound very single right now, and we need the balance of a married person to tell us what is legitimate and what is not right now.
You know, I agree with you.
I'm with you.
Okay. I'm going to ask you the last question, but I just wanted to comment. Why am I still single? Like the ladies, you know, I think our answer will be similar with the ladies. We don't know because we don't pursue ourselves, guys. But I think in retrospect, I realized that, especially this year and last year, I realized that I had to do some healing. I had healing issues, you know. There were wounds, there were issues that I've not dealt with. And I'm thinking about it that had I been in a relationship or marriage, for sure it could have really affected my relationship or my marriage in a negative way. So God revealing that to me, that you need to deal with 1, 2, 3. For me, it was a good thing, lest I could have done damage. So I think as well as we're single and stuff, let's look at what's wrong with us. What are the wounds we have experienced or incurred whenever, so that we can heal. You don't want to get in a relationship with a baggage. No, you don't want to. I mean, and I'm not saying that you would get in a relationship without any challenges in your life. You'll still find yourselves with insecurities and stuff, but that those main things that you really need to deal with before we're getting in relationships. Having said that, as we close, this conversation has been so nice, guys. I've been looking at the time and I'm like, we're going beyond. But anyway, the last question that I want to ask you is, I'm going to put 2 questions. I'm going to ask you 2 questions as one. There's a notion of that there are people that are being called to be married and others have been called to be single. I've heard that. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. If not, it's okay. Don't expand on it. But if you have, please do. And So what are your thoughts on that? And if you find that you've been called to be single the rest of your life, how would you feel as we close? Anyone can shoot. I'm gonna choose.
Well,
anyone who feels.
I think everyone has been called to be single, and many have been called to be married. So, but not all, right? And I think it just depends on understanding your mission and your purpose in life, and where you see that going at the end of the day. And so, do I ascribe to that? I think everyone is single at some point. So singleness is a thing. But at the end of the day, many are called to be married, but I think it depends on knowing who you are, understanding yourself in your singlehood, and if you're ready for the next step of uniting with someone else. So.
Okay, I like that. I wish we could have expanded more on what do you do while you're still single, That is a very important part. Mamela.
Okay. I'm trying to think. But yes, I do believe that there are some who are called for marriage and some who are called just to be single. And I believe that our purpose as God's children is to glorify Him with our lives, in whatever we do. And I think marriage is one of the best ways of glorifying Him and representing Him, like revealing His image. And for some, though, it may not be, when, let's say, maybe God has another mission for you that will glorify Him more. And all this that I'm saying, it's more like purpose, just knowing your purpose and how to conduct it. Some are called, but the best way for them to fulfill their purpose is through marriage and in a family setup. And the best way also for others to fulfill their purpose is through singlehood. So yes, I do believe that. And what do I do if I find out that I'm called to singlehood? I believe that if God has purpose that I be single, and if I understand that purpose as an individual, I will live a much more fulfilling life, that I will not feel the void to be married. I say this looking at characters, let's say in the Bible, or even just life characters right now. There are people whom are leading single lives, and they do not have their content in their singlehood. So I believe that when, as an individual, I understand my purpose and know it, I will not be disappointed or not content of my life and how to live it.
Okay. I hear you. Michelle, do you want to say if you'll be fine?
Yeah, I forgot that part. I think I would definitely mourn, weep bitterly.
I'm with you, John. I'm with you.
Thank you.
I would weep bitterly, and then I would say, okay, now I'm just going to be determined to make my life so amazing that I don't even miss that aspect. But I would definitely grieve it probably for a significant amount of time first, and then move on. So
I feel you. I'm with you. Same WhatsApp group. We'll do a morning party. Leslie.
But guys, can I just say something?
Yes.
It's about a character from the Bible, though. Let's look at Paul. I mean, Paul was single for almost all his life, and he was busy, he was busy with ministry, he was busy with his tent making, and he was busy with all the stuff. And for some reason, when I just interacted with him in the Bible, like even his writings and all, I'm like, but why didn't Paul have a family? Why didn't he marry? Because I feel like he communicates well. He'll be just giving, let's say he's writing to the Romans or he's writing to the Ephesus and all. He'll be just giving like a feedback of what happened, and then he'll be praising the people, and later he admonishes them. I'm like, Paul would make a great husband. He would make a great he would make a great father. Even though he was busy as he was, I still feel he would make a good family man, because whenever he's home, he would give a feedback of what has happened. Even when he is away, I'm sure Paul's wife would be reading letters after letters after letters of her husband, which now is like communication, like WhatsApp or emails or what. So I feel he's communicative enough to have had a family and still maintain like a ministry, but still he didn't have it. That is why I feel that if your purpose or whatever God has purposed us to be, let's say single or to be married, we'll still live a fulfilling life actually, and we won't even maybe notice the deficits in a way.
I hear you. I have a comment, but I'm gonna keep it. To Leslie. To Leslie, as you close off.
Mm-hmm. So I give my thoughts on the same.
Yes.
I'm definitely not called to be single. I know it for a fact. Okay. Just before I even make my wrap up my contributions. One of the reason why I'm in this single space is because I've dedicated 2020 the last part of 2020 and 2021 to doing to taking my bar exam. So because of how demanding that stuff is, I don't want to be in a position where I split my energies unnecessarily. So that's just putting it out there. And going back to what I was saying, I'm not called to be single, and I don't think I even want to entertain the idea of what my life would be like if I was to live alone all my life. I don't want that, and I'm not gonna have that. So yeah.
Like, so, absolutely not. End of story.
So for me, yeah, I'm not called to be single. I believe in, I've heard people talk about, being called to be single, but much of the time it's single people trying to make themselves feel good about their own situation.
Yeah.
I'm single. I know what I'm saying. Whether marriage is a calling, and whether I think I've made the grade for marriage, I know. I'm gonna get married. I'm just playing hard to get for now, and but I'm definitely gonna get married. Yes, not just today, or for the coming months, or maybe 2021, the whole of 2020. But until then, I'm keeping the idea of marriage so fresh that it will not spoil, no matter how long it is. But it's gonna be so fresh.
Wow.
So yeah, that's my submission. I don't want to entertain the idea of being alone. Then it will shift from me being alone to being lonely. I don't want that. For now, I'm not lonely.
I agree.
Okay? But if I extend it further, then I definitely will be lonely. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I'm with you, D. I don't believe I'm called to be single. Marriage is my portion. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I'm gonna hand over to Nompi in closing.
Yeah, thank you guys for the talk. It was very insightful. I have learned quite a lot. And I'm so excited because I think pretty much almost all of us just met on this panel, but it was like so cool. It was like we've known each other for a very, very long time. So, and it was nice hearing that. Okay, I'm gonna say this, but yeah, it was nice knowing that we have a lot of the same struggles. Because sometimes as a single person, you think that you're all alone in the world and no one else understands. So knowing that there are other people out there that are struggling with the same things and have the same concerns, it's somewhat comforting. So thank you so much for being bearing your souls to us and to the world potentially, because this is kind of going online forever and we're not planning on taking it down anytime soon. So yeah, this is it. If you had something you didn't want out there, I'm sorry. Yeah, so thank you so much. I believe next week we'll be back with another topic, with a different set of guests. Next week we're talking to pursue or not to pursue. So that should be pretty interesting. I hope you guys will tune in and let's to say, do the right thing, subscribe, follow us, so that you can get updates as soon as we are online. So yeah, thank you, Mamelang, thank you, Michelle, and thank you, Leslie, for joining us. We're probably gonna invite you guys again for another talk. So yeah, be ready. Yeah.
Alrighty. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.